Okay, so 4K warm-up done. We're still in St Moritz. So today isn't a difficult day. I'm just doing some light threshold, which the difficult part is, let's see if I can actually keep the heart rate down and the lactate down without getting frustrated. But yeah, just more of the same. I try to do, I guess at the moment, 1 or 2 sessions a week in this sort of like format where it's either like 2K reps, 3K reps, maybe even K reps, just trying to keep that lactate pretty low, but improve running economy, running efficiency at a pretty good pace. But the intensity is very controlled, so you recover pretty quickly, but you are teaching your body to hopefully run quicker at very, very, very efficient effort. Let's see how efficient it ends up. That's the warm-up done, 4 and a bit K, and now I'm going to get stuck into some drills. So yesterday, I've got my shirt off already, it's too hot. Yesterday I got sports massage, and this is important when you've just had like sports massage or even a hot bath the night before. It has this effect on the muscles where it makes them a bit like sleepy, a bit soft. So this is why I'll do a little bit more activation drills, TheraBand stuff, or you'll just feel absolutely rubbish during the session. So TheraBand stuff, activation stuff, strides, that kind of stuff, very, very important. Best part of the warm-up done. I still have to do some drills and some strides, but I'm walking to sort of where I start at the lake, and then I can get stuck into those. What I would say about today, if you can get a threshold test done, probably the best investment you'll ever make for your running. If you can't, you probably run threshold too quick, and just try to slow it down a bit. So what you're basically trying to do in a nutshell is threshold at its like the lowest threshold, which is aerobic threshold. You're trying to teach the body to run at its fastest pace possible, right at that sort of intensity, just before you start working too hard, that you start using carbohydrate more as your fuel, your energy source. And basically we can only store, you know, it'd be like having a hybrid vehicle, and if you drive at the right revs, you could say, you don't use petrol, you just use electric, you know, like an electric stroke petrol vehicle, if they exist. And sort of like, once you start pushing a bit too hard and running, then you start using up your glycogen. You can only store so much glycogen, so eventually you get tired. It's pretty simple. So running at these sort of like thresholdy efforts, it's just teaching your body to get quicker and quicker at that point before you start using a lot of glycogen, which inevitably means if you're using up all your petrol in the vehicle, you won't get to your destination unless it's in a close enough proximity of how much petrol you have, which is super simple. But that's the idea, learning and teaching the body to be efficient at pretty good paces while using minimal energy. It's a brilliant session to do, but I couldn't recommend getting some testing done. Couldn't recommend that enough. All right, so some warm-up drills done. If you don't know a lot about warm-up drills, you can copy some of these, but I've also thrown, you know, an activation warm-up routine on the website, joggingroom.com. So, you know, go check that out. Not everybody knows what warm-up drills to do, but now we'll do some strides and then get stuck in. All right, so we just finished this session. Well, I haven't just finished it. There was a little DJ booth over here. One of the probably people sharing one of the apartments is having a little party, so it's probably been about an hour and a half. I came home, had a smoothie like I always do, love a smoothie. I'll get to the bottom of today. Today was really good, and paces were pretty good, feeling pretty good, lactate in a good place. Yeah, what can I say? It went far better than I probably expected. Week 1, I can compare times, I'll throw that up, but there's no real point comparing times because sometimes you've just got the altitude, you're adjusting, other times you might be tired. The goal of training and the goal of this video is really to just stack layers and layers together, and some days they go really well, other days they don't go as well. Friday kind of sucked. Like, it looks good, 600s, you know, 65, 66 pace, and I put that video up, but to be honest, I should have found that a lot easier. But I was tired. I got a really good massage yesterday, and so today the body is just feeling much better, like much easier to get into a nice rhythm. and I just found today lovely. And so learn to appreciate the good days, but don't beat yourself up on those bad days, because that's just going to happen. That's part and parcel of training 52 weeks a year, 365 days of the year. Yeah, things are gonna, days are just gonna not feel as good as others. Some days you're gonna have an absolute blinder, other days you're gonna have an absolute mare. Nothing's changed. If you start having a couple of shitty sessions back to back, start to figure out what's going on. Is it nutrition, sleep, recovery stuff? Do you need to do more of that stuff? Prioritize getting recovered between training so that the next session can go well. Some tips for nailing your next threshold run. If you want to nail your next threshold run, you get into a rhythm as early as you can, right? So I was doing 2K reps, and what you want to do is if you look at my splits, they're so consistent, because to me, threshold effort it's exactly that. It's an effort and it's a cadence. You're not pressing for any pace. You're just looking to find that rhythm, and then once you find it, just sit at it. Don't worry what happens next. If you start to slow down a bit, that's fine. You'll probably recognize that your heart rate will stay roughly the same. That's where you need to keep your ego in check and not try to push a pace because you had some other kind of agenda for that day in terms of, I wanted to average this pace. No, you wanted to do X amount of volume with X recovery at threshold intensity. Pace never had anything to do with it. Tip number 2, drop that fucking ego. Don't look for pace, just find the right effort, be really disciplined. Like I said, some days it'll be really good, other days it won't. What if it's windy? You're just gonna have to slow down. Learn to just nail training perfectly because you got the effort and the intensity right. Tip number 3, keep the recovery fairly short. You shouldn't need heaps of recovery, but if you have pressed the rep a little bit, well then increase the recovery to give that heart rate and lactate a chance to stabilize and come down a bit, and progress this stuff gradually. Don't try to jump into this guns blazing and go 6 times 2K with 30 seconds rest. You might want to do 4 times 2K with 75 seconds rest. Give yourself a chance to get used to it, give yourself a chance to execute it well, and then next time it'll probably go a lot better. And then you can bring the recovery down and maybe add an extra rep. Threshold is an intensity, it's an effort. Some days it's lovely and it's really fast and the lactate's low and you get all excited. Other days it fucking sucks and the lactate's high and the speed's slow and you get all pissed off. Don't be so hard on yourself. Running, while it can be absolutely beautiful and absolutely magical, yeah, it can beat you down. If you start reading into the data too much, comparing old sessions with new ones, that's why I'm so lucky with this YouTube stuff. People could think it's almost like a distraction, or is he focused, is he not? It just means I put my time into this sort of stuff and not looking over old training, not scoring through Strava to see what other people are doing. I'm too fucking busy trying to edit stuff and think about what I might do next, improving the running school, etc. So all this stuff, go easy on yourself. Don't need to beat yourself up. Don't need to compare every single session and think you're not where you need to be. Running's fairly fair. So if you put in 10 good weeks, you make good choices and you eat well, you sleep well, you look after your recovery stuff, you look after your psychology, you hit the right intensity, don't be surprised if on race day you fucking nail it and you'll go, holy shit, how was I doing my threshold way slower than normal? How was I running 10K intensity and pace slower because I was actually running at 10K effort, and all of a sudden I've run a massive PB because you got the intensities and the efforts right. You ignored that fucking ego, Don't get emotional with it. Just do what you know works. Do what works for you. And do it with a smile and be nice to yourself. No matter how it goes, at least you were out there trying. More tips, more good stuff on the website, joggingroom.com. I've put a lot of time and effort into that. Like I said, I shoot all this myself. I edit all this myself. I probably look a bit stupid. You've got like the Olympic champions and Jakob, and they're doing their thing. And I do my session, and then I have a drone up in the air and I'm back and forward and GoPros. But I love it. I enjoy it. I don't care how it looks. I know that these videos help people. So if you wanted more help, more tips, jump on the website, take a look at that. And hopefully this wasn't too windy and doesn't sound a mess out here, but I'm going to go back inside. Thanks for watching.